Who watch the country's telcos say this is a big step into the future, but they're worried the government is long on promises but short on detail. Even one of the government's own experts who recommended scrapping the old policy says it's a solution forced on Canberra by the global financial crisis. Raphael Epstein reports.
It's the biggest thing since the railways, the freeways and hydroelectricity. Faster web access for your home and business, video conferencing, broadband TV and a quantum leap in services like healthcare.
It's as close as we can get to having the patient in our own department.
And all in 8 years' time. But then they have made promises like this before.
Labor's network will be starting to be rolled out by the end of 2008.
They've made promises before about costs as well.
The tender process is for an $8 billion build.
Now it's $47 billion.
As the roads were and the railways were important in past centuries, a broadband infrastructure which really supports services of the future in the nation, it will be key to Australia's economy.
Professor Reg Coutts was one of the government experts that scrapped the old policy and pushed a retooled broadband network. He says the government's election policy was killed off by the economy.
Without the financial crisis, I wouldn't envisage that this would have been a viable policy option.
Indeed, the government panel said no proposal submitted a business case that supports the timetable the government wanted with the money supplied by the taxpayer. And they said any bid was likely to require exclusive or near-exclusive access to Telstra's existing copper wires, the lines that run into our homes. The problem, it seems, is that successive governments never made the big decisions.
Unfortunately, they make decisions that are incremental on the previous decision. And when you get a sequence of these that potentially lead you, shall we say, in the wrong direction, and that was what was happening in Australia.
The new network will make redundant Telstra's monopoly on the wires that run into our homes. Instead, fibres will run into every home and business. The industry says this method's already being used in a number of countries, and they say it's future-proof.
We could do a lot faster speeds on the fibre that they roll. All you need to do is to actually replace the electronics at either end, so the fibre will always be there.
But there are big questions. For example, we already have fibre in our streets bringing us pay TV and big cables from the mainland to Tasmania. They could be brought into the new network or they could compete with it.
Well, certainly Telstra's cable will do 100 megabits per second, which is what the government is advertising that its new network will do. So it is technically feasible that they could compete. The question is, will they be allowed to do so?
That means the still unwritten laws governing the network's future ownership are important.
Would they sell it completely to one telecommunications company, or would they sell parts of it off? Would it be listed? What are we looking at here? How would they sell off such an enormous network?
And then, of course, when will it really be ready and how much will it really cost?
I'm a pessimist, so I do think that it's likely to blow out both on time frame and on cost.
The government's expert too is unsure that most of us will be on this new network in 8 years' time.
Look, that's very hard to say.
The government's promised more